Bienvenidas. Happy Latina History Day. My name is Leslie Lopez, and I'm the morning meteorologist for ABC7 Eyewitness News here in Los Angeles. And I'm just so excited to be your MC for today. What we're excited about is just a bunch of opportunities to hear from some wonderful women. And today marks Hope's 30th annual Latina History Day, celebrating the resilience of hope. Hope has a super special day planned for us all around empowering our careers and communities. Our main stage speakers will include powerhouse Latina executives, LA City Council President Nury Martinez, and our keynote, MSNBC Anchor and Latina to Latina podcast host, Alicia Menendez. After the main stage program, our hop-in guests will be able to enter breakout sessions. You can choose between recharging communities through inclusive leadership, presented by the Estee Lauder companies, and the workplace resilience, re-entering post-pandemic, presented by Brown, George, Ross, O'Brien, Anigwe, and Ellis. We'll end the day with a virtual Comrade Comrade Network Expo, where you can shop from Latina-owned brands and accessing exclusive offers from Hope's partners. And some of our exhibitors are going live in their booths, so be sure to connect with them. If you're watching on Facebook Live and don't want to miss out on the breakout sessions and expo, you can still register on Hopin. Hope staff will be dropping the registration link to the Facebook live stream chat right now. All right, if you're on Hopin, you're in the right place. Really, all you have to do is post any questions that come across or any tech issues on Hopin. Just please enter them into the event chat box on the right-hand side of your screen, and Hope staff is on standby to answer your questions. All right, we've taken care of all of our housekeeping items, so let's get this show started. And first, if you've been tuning in, you have already met the fabulous Helen Torres, CEO of Hope, Hispanics Organized for Political Equality. And Helen has led Hope for the past 20 years to become one of the nation's most influential Latina organizations. She has been instrumental in the development and implementation of Hope's 4 leadership programs that have trained over 1,200 Latinas, resulting in over 1,600 leadership positions being filled by Latinas. Welcome back, Helen.
Thank you so much, Leslie, and thank you for your leadership and amazing work in volunteerism with our organization, Hope. It means a lot. And welcome, everyone, to the official Latina History Day. It is wonderful to be celebrating the incredible contributions Latinas continue to make for our great country and nation, and of course, here in California and across the nation. So happy Latina History Day. As I mentioned, March 12th, which is the official Latina History Day, was declared so by Hope 30 years ago. And it was instrumental in securing this by working with California Congresswoman, then she was California State Assemblywoman, Lucia Robert Allard. Her support in declaring the second Friday in March during Women's History Month as Latina History Day memorizes the important role Latinas play in our American society, and recognizing the contributions that Hope has made in advancing Latinas' economic and political parity. Our mission to ensure Latinas are politically strong and economically strong as well. Since Latina History Day was founded 30 years ago, over 26,000 Latinas have participated in the conference, designed specifically to meet the needs of Latina professionals and community activists, offering resources and skill development opportunities, as well as networking opportunities. And as you will notice, if you go to our Comadre network, the opportunity to support our Latina micro businesses. This year, the conference is being held virtually for the first time ever. The pandemic has often felt like a direct attack on our communities, which is why we remain steadfast at Hope to ensure that we are uplifting the voices of Latinas and asserting the importance of our contributions to our nation through this conference. Although we long to be with our community in person and with all of you in person, we know this virtual setting has afforded us the unprecedented opportunity to reach Latinas across the country. In the face of obstacles, our hope for a better tomorrow remains resilient. And we're so thrilled to be celebrating the resiliency of hope with all of you. As Leslie mentioned, our theme for the day is empowering our community and careers. For us, community is everything. For us Latinas, our careers is our big way and in our way of contributing to uplifting and empowering others. Today, we'll focus on how career and community intersect, with a special emphasis on how to get back to work post the pandemic and also emphasizing how to create inclusive leadership development opportunities in our community. We'll hear from Latina powerhouses on how they get it all done while remaining true to themselves and being authentically representing our community. My heartfelt thank you to the conference co-title sponsors, the Coca-Cola Company and the Estee Lauder companies, for supporting this programming and helping us bringing this conference to all of you. I'd like to invite our next speaker, a partner in all our work here at Hope, Alba Castillo Baylin. Alba is Vice President of Stakeholder Community Management for Coca-Cola North America Operating Group. In this role, she leads stakeholder partnerships, philanthropy strategy, community marketing, and engagement, as well as nonprofit board placement and employee volunteerism and disaster relief. Quite a big job there, Alba. Thank you so much for joining us for Latina History Day. Thank you for your support and for the Coca-Cola Company support. And thank you for coming all the way from Georgia to be here with us virtually. I really appreciate it.
Thanks to you, Helen, and good morning and good afternoon to all of you. The beauty, as Helen mentioned, is that this is broadcasted and more women get the opportunity to benefit from this. I bring you greetings from my friends and family at the Coca-Cola Company, and want to start by again acknowledging the amazing work that Helen and her team are doing to empower Latinas, to make a difference in our communities, and to say happy birthday. Happiest 30th birthday in this very special day, the Latina Day, but also this week. This is the International Women's Week, when we are celebrating the contributions and all women do to make our communities and actually our world stronger. This week, I'm proud to share that at Coca-Cola, we wrap up our 5 by 20 initiative. We made a pledge to empower 5 million women by 2020. And on Monday, we announced that we were able to reach and exceed our goal with over 6 million women. And here in the United States, there was a strong focus with Latinas. We partnered with Nelly Galan and the Adelante movement, and I hope many of you were able to receive the amazing webinars that Nelly prepared to help each woman achieve economic freedom. So I just wanted to say congratulations to all the women, and this is a very special week. And in terms of the team, for me, the team is so powerful, empowering communities and empowering our careers. Because we know that when we make $1, we earn $1 through our hard work. 90% is invested back in our communities, with our families, with our friends, and everything that we do, and our empowerment, our careers, what we get to accomplish is only making our communities stronger. So I just wanted to applaud all the women and to share a little bit of my personal story. I am an immigrant. I came to the United States 32 years ago, and it was just 2 years before Hope. And I was able to get support from organizations like Hope, who helped me get my education and who supported me along the way to get to where I am today. I am so honored on behalf of the Coca-Cola Company to partner with Helen to support the efforts and to ensure that the magic for all of us to achieve our communities, see our communities thriving, is corporations like ours, government, and nonprofit with amazing people like Helen, bringing us together so that we can support each other. I have spent a little bit of time on Wednesday and Thursday, listening to the different seminars. I am so excited about this afternoon. I have one of my colleagues that is going to be in one of the panels, and tomorrow is about the youth. So I just wanted to bring greetings from the Coca-Cola company, acknowledge that these Latinas, all of us are resilient. And while the pandemic was something that we did not expect, it is so inspiring to see how we, all the Latinas, have been able to manage to the challenges, putting our families first and coming together, learning from each other, being the comadres to support our efforts to ensure that our families can emerge stronger. So thank you and congratulations to all the women for all you do. And here is to an amazing conference. Thank you, Helen.
That's so wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Alba, for being here with us today. It's a wonderful opportunity to hear your story, and we have many more stories to come. So we are going to get started with those here this afternoon. And for some of you, it's the afternoon. For some of us, it's the morning. And so we are going to be saying a wonderful, hearty thank you to all the people that will be here today, including Alba, you just heard from, and also joining us today. We're going to say a thank you for making history today, Alba, too. I mean, you're such a powerhouse in the Latina community. What we'll also notice today is we're going to hear from wonderful speakers who have broken glass ceilings. One of those speakers is a Latina making history. Our next speaker has not only broken that glass ceiling at the Los Angeles City Council as the first Latina to serve as City Council president, but she has also been a role model to countless Latinas and a steadfast champion for the Latina History Day along the way. It's City Council President Nury Martinez. She has supported Latina History Day for years, welcoming hope to City Council chambers and proclaiming Latina History Day for all of us here in Los Angeles. She is also an alum of the Hope Leadership Institute, class of 2000. Council President Martinez has graciously sent us a special message of hope and celebration for all of us to commemorate the day. Now, let's take a look.
Hello everyone, I'm Nury Martinez, the President of the Los Angeles City Council, and I am proud to be the first Latina to serve in this role. As a Hope alumni, class of 2000, I'm thrilled to officially declare Latina History Day on March 5th in the city of Los Angeles. 2020 was incredibly hard on everyone, but especially for women. The theme of this year's celebration is Resilience of Hope, a theme so fitting for this time. This past year, we saw a global pandemic shatter our local communities. As a woman, a mother, and as an elected official, I can assure you that what has gotten me through the pandemic has been my focus. That no matter how difficult these times may be, every day you have to hold your head up high and continue to do the work. Resilience can be found in each and every home during this challenging time. Throughout this pandemic, women have served as caregivers and at home as teachers. We are the ones who have sacrificed work hours, promotions, or our jobs entirely. Women have carried us through this pandemic. While we look towards the end of this crisis, our work must continue. We will all have to stand together, stronger than ever, to bring women back into the workforce. More than ever, we need organizations like Hope that look to empower Latinas and women of color to climb the ladder of success. Women have lost almost 5.5 million jobs since the pandemic began, with over 2 million dropping out of the workforce entirely. We must act with urgency to create a workforce that is inclusive and catering to our needs. Despite the challenges 2020 brought us, I am encouraged by all that we have accomplished this year. Latinas came out in record numbers to send Donald Trump out of the White House. We, along with our Black brothers and sisters, carried the victory for President Biden. And together we elected the first woman, specifically the first woman of color to serve as Vice President. I know we can accomplish so much more if we continue to organize and make our voices heard. This year and beyond, we must remember the lessons of our mothers, our grandmothers, and the women that came before us. The resilience to move forward. Lastly, I would like to thank Hope for the beautiful presidential portrait. Your support is so much appreciated. Enjoy the conference, everyone, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you to Los Angeles City Council President Nury Martinez and her staff for putting together that wonderful and fantastic piece, that video you just watched for us to watch. And I love the portrait, Hope, commissioned to commemorate the first Latina council president of Los Angeles. On behalf of Hope, I'd like to acknowledge the elected officials who have also introduced resolutions to proclaim Latina History Day in their communities. And a big thank you to the following. The first would be the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, LA County Board of Supervisors as well. And that's chair with Hilda Solis. Thank you so much. Santa Clara County Supervisor Cindy Chavez, San Diego County Supervisor Nora Vargas, LAUSD Board President Kelly Gonez, Palm Desert City Council member Karina Quintanilla, and City of Delano Mayor Pro Tem Veronica Vasquez. A big thank you for helping us make this the widest reaching Latina History Day ever. Our next fabulous speaker presents and represents a co-title sponsor, which the Estee Lauder companies have helped really bring this to light. So a true partner and collaborator in bringing this for us here on Latina History Days conference. And they've been a partner for the past 13 years. Claudia Benschemel is the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Estee Lauder and Aerin Beauty for North America. In this role, Claudia is responsible for the development and execution of the North American go-to-market strategy for the Estee Lauder company's flagship brand. She continues to advance and modernize Estee Lauder's strategies to reach diverse and cross-generation consumers. Thank you for being here today with us, Claudia.
Gracias, Leslie, for the introduction. Es un honor estar aquí con ustedes to celebrate Latina History Day and to express the Estee Lauder company's support of hope and its work to empower and uplift Latinas. This year's theme, the resilience of hope, truly resonates with me. Estee Lauder has always believed in the power of resilience, and it is at the core of everything we do, from the relationships we build, to the products we create, to the way we empower each other. It is in our DNA to find beauty everywhere and anywhere we can. And over this past year, our team has truly come together, even though we've been physically apart, like all of us. I'm very proud of how everyone has risen to the occasion to demonstrate resilience in every sense of the word. Many of us, including myself, have added several new titles to our resume: teacher, caregiver, chef, coach, therapist, and tech support, to name just a few. As a mother of two, I've had way too many Zoom calls where you hear or see one of my kids, or where I have to go off camera to deal with a burnt meal, homework problem, or to break up a fight. All of this while worrying about my parents and relatives that I haven't seen in over a year. And at the same time, I needed to be there for my team as we look for ways to transform our business and adapt to the new market reality. This past year has allowed us to bring our full selves to work, since there is truly no separation anymore between home and work. It has brought a whole new level of humanity to the workplace. From a business perspective, I'm very proud of what we have been able to accomplish. Our team has launched new products, maintained our high-touch consumer experience, expanded into new distribution channels during a very challenging retail market, and all of this while the entire team is also dealing with their own issues personally. That is resilience. During a year of isolation, we hosted virtual parties for some of our biggest product launches. We celebrated birthdays, career milestones, and more than one new baby, finding ways to stay connected and supporting each other through this pandemic. At Estee Lauder, we like to say we're beautiful together, and it could not ring truer. From the onset of the global pandemic, the Estee Lauder company's priority has been to protect the health and safety of our employees and our consumers, and to support the communities in which we live and work. We have contributed through the establishment of the ELC Cares Employee Relief Fund, monetary and in-kind donations, and the production of hand sanitizer at our facilities around the world. Throughout all of this, we recognize how important it is, now more than ever, to support initiatives such as the one we're here for this week. The Estee Lauder Companies has partnered with Hope on this event for the past 13 years because we believe in the power women have to make a difference in their communities. We invest in Latina leadership through Hope because you are all the change makers and the leaders our communities need. Rooted in our long-held values of respect for the individual, inclusion, and equality, We're committed to developing, supporting, and mentoring our own talent through our employee resource group for Latino employees. And we pay special attention toward empowering our youth who are our future. We hope you can join us tomorrow as we present the Hope and Estee Lauder Company's Future History Maker Awards to 5 Latina college students who are excelling academically and making an impact in their communities. It is now my pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Alicia Menendez. Alicia Menendez is an award-winning journalist and multimedia storyteller and news anchor on MSNBC and the creator and host of the Latina to Latina podcast. She's been dubbed Miss Millennial by the Washington Post, Journalism's New Gladiator by Elle, and a Content Queen by Marie Claire. Her interviews and reporting have appeared on ABC News, Bustle, Fusion TV, PBS, and Vice News. She recently published her first book, The Likability Trap: How to Break Free and Succeed as You Are, where she discusses how women are stuck in an impossible bind. At work, strong women are criticized for being cold, and warm women are seen as pushovers. Alicia examines this fundamental paradox and empowers readers to let go of old rules and reimagine leadership rather than reinventing themselves. I am so excited to hear more from this thoughtful leader. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Alicia Menendez.
Claudia, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, and a very special thank you to Helen and your entire team. You know, I was supposed to join you a year ago, March 13th, 2020, and then everything changed. It changed so fast. I was supposed to get on a plane to LA, and that idea now seems so foreign. I was looking forward to it, and I remember Helen and I went back and forth, so many phone calls, so many texts. And Helen did what a lot of leaders had to do. She had to make a very hard choice. There were contracts that had already been signed. There was money that had already been spent, but she did what she needed to do to keep everyone safe. I hope that soon we'll be together. At that time we said we'll be together in a few months. It's now a year later, but I have hope that it'll be very soon that we'll be together in the same room. You know, I am very happy to celebrate Women's History Month. I'm also a little conflicted about it this month, if I'm being honest, because, well, of course, I always welcome any opportunity to celebrate women and the accomplishments of women. I'm also very, very aware, as a lot of the other speakers have already referenced, about what women are up against right now, especially women of color. The unemployment rate for Black women is 8.9%. Among Latinas, it's 8.8%. We have a very long recovery ahead. There are real big make or break challenges, and that is already in addition to all of the more subtle challenges that women are up against. You know, pre-pandemic, as you said, I wrote a book called The Likability Trap: How to Break Free and Succeed as You Are. That journey to writing that book started because I am a person who cares very much about being well-liked. I care very much about the impact I have on others. That is in part because I am naturally sensitive. I am a Cancer. I am a crier. I am a Latina. And as another Latina I interviewed for the book said, we as Latinas are raised with a PhD in graciousness. We are very aware of the fact that when we walk into any room, we don't just represent ourselves, we represent our families, our communities, and we carry that with us. I care a lot, but as I got into my 30s, I began to realize how much that care was costing me. And so I originally thought that I would write like an Eat, Pray, Love for likability, where I would go out into the world and learn to care less. As someone who is myself governed in large part by likability, I imagined that there were women out there who didn't give a damn and were just living their best lives. And what I found as I spoke with women is that there were a lot of women, many, many women like myself, who care very deeply about what other people think of them. But there were also a lot of women who didn't care. And again, I imagine that those women were fully liberated. And what I found is that even those women who are not governed by likability, they too feel that they pay a price for being so brazenly themselves. That came up especially at work, and especially if the women were ambitious. You know, the title of the book, The Likability Trap, is a little misleading because it's not just one trap, it's a bunch of traps. I outline a few. The first, and I think this is really important to understand, is that the vast majority of feedback that women get in the workplace is critical subjective feedback. Okay, what does all that mumbo jumbo means? It means that if you've ever had a session with someone where they've given you feedback, the chances are, you have talked about how you use your hands, how you sit in a chair, the tone of your voice. And that feedback tends to go in one of two directions. There are women who are told that they are really warm. People love them in the office. People are just not sure they have it. They can't always tell you what it is. But what they're really saying is that you're not perceived as strong. And because you're not perceived as strong, you're not necessarily perceived as a leader or someone who has upward mobility. Then there are women who are told that they're too much, too assertive, too aggressive. While they get things done, while they push projects forward, they're just a little too much, and maybe people don't like them. There are also a lot of women like myself, and perhaps you're one of these women, who's been given both sets of feedback, which just shows you how subjective and context specific that feedback is. What does that mean for women? It means that you can show up as you are, whether as you are is warm, which is what we expect of women, but then you might not be seen as a leader, or you can show up strong and assertive. You can ask for what you want, you can ask for what you need, and you may be seen as a leader, but people won't like you. What does that tell women? It tells women that there's no way to show up exactly as you are and still be a likable leader. Then there's this question of authenticity. Right now, there's this big push for authentic leadership, for all of us showing up as we are. You know, Claudia said it, and I think I'm in the same exact boat. I have not been on a single Zoom where a child has not walked in. I've not been on a conference call where all of a sudden I'm being asked for a bevy of snacks. So our life at home and our life at work, they're very much colliding. And even still, there's a presentation of how we show up within that. So if there's this call for authentic leadership, but women across the board are being told that however they show up is wrong, then how can women possibly show up as authentic leaders? I think this is even more complicated for women of color. Black women, very often when they are assertive, that assertiveness is bred as anger. Anger is a huge demerit in the workplace. For Asian American women, there's the perception that they should be submissive, which means people love to have them on their team. But when they try to be authoritative, when they try to lead the team, there's often a resistance to that. For Latinas, there tend to be two stereotypes, and perhaps you've had one or both apply to you. One stereotype is this idea that we are meek and humble, and we keep our head down and we do the work and everyone relies on us. But again, we're not seen as ascendant. Then there's Sofia Vergara on Modern Family, this idea that we're so hot and passionate, someone who people might enjoy our company, but they don't necessarily see us as leaders. Both of those stereotypes are incredibly damning. And of course, because we as Latinas can be Black, can be Asian, can be any variety of races, that means that we can often have multiple of those stereotypes happening at the same time. So when I hear that women need to show up as their authentic selves, I think for a lot of us, that sounds great. But we worry that it is a mandate, something that is only truly safe for those who are already presumed to be competent and powerful. And then finally, there's the likability success penalty, which if you've seen Sheryl Sandberg's viral TED Talk, if you read her book, Lean In, or skimmed her book, Lean In, then you're probably pretty familiar with this idea, which is that the more successful a woman becomes, the less other people like her, just because. They become suspicious of what she had to do in order to become successful, the choices she had to make in order to become successful. I think one of the things that we have gotten wrong about the way that we talk about the likability success penalty is that at least I understood it almost as like a one-time choice, right? Do you wake up one day and choose that success is more important to you or that likability is more important to you? And in reality, they're micro choices that women are being confronted with throughout their career. It starts with your transcript and your CV and the judgments that are made on you predicated on your transcript and your CV. It starts the first time you negotiate for a promotion, for a raise, for a new title. It's every time you ask to be placed on a reach assignment. All of those choices, we know very subtly that we are both pushing forward our ambition, we are trying to pursue success, and at the same time, there is a very lived, real-world potential penalty that we are constantly navigating. Okay, so to me, there's a big through line between what I started with, which is how the current economy looks for women of color, and the subtle and not so subtle biases that we face at work. And that is that neither of those problems is going to be solved by individual action alone. Now, I know that probably sounds strange or feels strange because if you are like me, you have likely internalized the message that with enough hard work and enough grit and enough optimism, you alone can fix anything. I think that we have been gaslit into believing that what we need are individual solutions to these system-wide problems. The unemployment rate for women of color isn't going to fall because we as individuals try harder. It's going to fall because the government and community health officials actually see us to the other side of this pandemic. Some of those jobs begin to come back online, that you also have schools reopening and people able to return to work. The likability trap, it's not going to go away because we decide that we care less. It's going to become a relic when we stand up for ourselves and when we stand up for others. Okay, that sounds great. So how do we do that? Well, for ourselves, I'll give you one piece of advice that I think is really tangible and you could put into action today. And that is that if you find yourself in one of these subjective feedback sessions where someone is saying, you know, Helen, you're just a little aggressive. You say, okay, thank you for that feedback. Aggressive compared to whom? That gives the person who's giving you that feedback an opportunity to decide whether or not they would give that feedback to someone else in your office. There's also a question you can ask, which is, can you connect the dots for me between how you perceive me showing up and how that affects the impact and the results of my work? Sometimes the person may be able to draw that line, but it gets the person focused back on the results because the results and not the style is what you want to be judged on. Now, as powerful as that can be for what we do for ourselves, and I do think that is a really useful piece of advice, it's even more powerful when we do it for one another. When you hear someone else in the office being called indecisive and you say, well, is she indecisive or is she deliberate? Because you're describing the same type of behavior, but I want to work with someone who is deliberate, who's really careful about the decisions that they make. Don't necessarily want to work for someone who's indecisive. There is a word that I use a lot, or I used to use a lot at least, to describe people because I thought that it was positive, glowing, and that was to describe a woman as helpful. Okay, why is that potentially problematic? Because when you describe a woman as helpful, a lot of people's minds immediately then paint her as a helper, meaning she got the coffee, she printed all the copies. What you want to do is you want to say, this is the way in which this woman was helpful. She ran the regression analysis. She reached out to all the primary participants and got their buy-in. Focus on what it is that she actually did. I am a big believer in sponsorship. I think a lot of us are very familiar with the idea of mentorship. Mentorship is wonderful. It is always helpful to have people who give you ideas, who give you feedback. That only takes a person so far. The difference with sponsorship is that sponsorship, one, is a two-way street, meaning that you have a relationship where you are both bringing value and receiving value from the relationship. You also are actually asking that person to deliver something for you. So who's a great sponsor? A great sponsor is someone with a big Rolodex, with a lot of connections, who they are willing to access and leverage for you. The reason I think this is so important is both because you need someone who's not just cheerleading you, but helping push and propel you through. And also because some of these likability traps that I'm outlining it is almost easier to have someone inside your organization who is able to give you an element of cover on them. I often like to say that because I'm in my mid-30s, I still think of myself as being early career, at the beginning of my career. And what I've come to realize is that I'm closer to mid-career than I am at the beginning of my career, which means it is no longer just about me finding a mentor or finding a sponsor. It's also about me mentoring someone. It is about me sponsoring someone. And so if you are someone who is also mid-career, I would challenge you to think about the role that you can play in doing just that. You could shape and change the entire trajectory of a woman's career by doing that. One of the things we have found among women of color, among Latinas, is that they are a group that both wants to be sponsored and is very often under-sponsored. That's in large part because you look around an organization and there may not be other Latinas. The Latinas who are in middle management or senior management may also have a bit of trepidation about choosing someone to sponsor who shares some of their background because they're worried that other people in the office may say, I bet she chose her just because they're both Latina. Ignore that. Do it anyway. Help the other women, help the other people in your office. I think it is an incredible thing to do. And if that feels too transactional, because I have heard people describe sponsorship as being too transactional, then to borrow a phrase from a woman I interviewed in the book, Sabrina Hirse-Issa, bang the table for other women. When you are in a meeting and an opportunity comes up, whether it is for a speech like this, whether it is for a reach assignment in your group, whether it is for a promotion or a position at another company, say, I know someone who would be great for that. In fact, I know 5 women who would be great for that. Here are their names. Talk about the things that they do. Talk about the things they bring to the table. Talk about the things that other women have accomplished. Make it so that you say those women's names so many times in meetings that people begin to think that their name is your own. You know, what gives me hope is all of you. Each of you as individuals, yes, but even more the power of what we can all do together. On my podcast, Latina to Latina, and if you are not subscribed, please go subscribe to Latina. It's available on all platforms. Each week, I speak with remarkable Latinas, and I am struck by the fact that while there is incredible diversity within our community, and that's diversity in every way, our countries of origin, where we were born, where we grew up, our immigration status, our race, our class, our accents, our faith, our sexual orientation, our age, the list goes on and on. There are still so many commonalities that come up over and over again. Seriously, every time I sit down and talk with another Latina, the value of hard work, the value of family, the value and importance of community, that deep, deep desire to do something that is aimed beyond ourselves. So what gives me hope is all of you, because I know that while we as individuals cannot solve every big challenge, when we come together, when we advocate for our communities and for one another, there is nothing that we cannot do. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this Latina History Day with you. I am so happy to be here.
Goodness, what an honor. What an honor. Thank you so much for being with us. What an incredible message for all the hardworking Latina leaders in the audience today. And thank you, Alicia, for your inspiring remarks and for just encouraging us to value our unique talents and styles. And we're done thinking we have to change who we are to succeed. So we really appreciate your words.
Leslie, you are such a star, and I've loved watching your star grow, and it's so fun to be here together today. Thank you.
Oh, that was so, well, that means a whole lot. So thank you. I really, really, really do appreciate that. That's it. That's what we do. We start encouraging each other. And so we have to pass this along. So yes, thank you. And a wonderful day today. And I hope everyone gets inspired by these wonderful speakers. Of course, Alicia being one of them. We just heard from so many. We're going to continue this, and we're also going to continue a raffle. Yeah. Did you know that we're going to be raffling off 50 copies of the Likability Trap to everyone in attendance today? So if you're one of the lucky winners, they'll be selected right after the conference. And then you must enter your mailing address at the registration to be eligible to receive the book. So I'm questioning whether I'm eligible or not, but I need to get my hands on that book. I know a lot of us do too. too. So many thanks again to Los Angeles City Council President Nury Martinez for helping us out and commemorate another year of Latina history in the making. Also, muchísimas gracias to all of our speakers today, Alba, Castillo, Baylin, and Claudia Benschemel. Thank you guys to the speakers and to our guests over the past 2 days of the conference. This has been a remarkable program. And no, we're not done yet. We're not done. To help us transition into the workshops and the Comadre Network, I know I said that wrong, we would like to welcome to the virtual stage your conference chair and Hope board member, Laura Arciniega, who is the principal at Raben Group and the chair of the Hope Board. Rosie Arroyo, who serves as senior program office of the California Community Foundation. Both are here, and it has been a big pleasure and honor to MC the past 2 days with you. More to come with all of the wonderful things happening. We still have one more day tomorrow, so I'm sending it off to you, Laura and Rosie.
Perfect. Well, first, let me just say a big thank you to Alicia. I have her book right here, and I'm a huge fan, and we so appreciate you being here. And Leslie, thank you for joining us and for doing such a fantastic job as MC. We appreciate your time and all of your continued support for Hope. And as Leslie mentioned, I have the great pleasure and honor of serving on Hope's board of directors, and it has been so deeply rewarding and inspiring to step into this role of conference chair and to help bring this amazing event to life. Alongside the incredible Hope team led by our beloved Helen Torres, our wonderful conference planning committee who worked very hard to make this happen, and our fabulous board led by, of course, our exceptional board chair, Rosie Arroyo, who's with us today.
Thank you, Laura. It's a pleasure to serve on the board with you, and you've done an incredible job this year with Latina History Day. Very grateful for your leadership and continued support of Hope and the community, and just amazing. At Hope, we get to reach thousands of Latinas each year through our leadership programs and our conferences and events across the state. In our 30-year history, we've served 57,000 Latinas and touched the lives of several thousands more through our advocacy efforts. I invite you all to learn more about Hope's stellar Latina leadership programs, our events, and our original research on the Hope website at latinas.org.
But before we break for our workshops and the rest of the conference, I'd like to take a moment to thank our committed partners who have shared their time and their financial support to ensure Hope consistently delivers on its mission to empower Latinas and uplift our communities. A big hearty thank you to our co-title sponsors, Coca-Cola and the Estee Lauder companies. Thank you to our platinum sponsors, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Walt Disney Company, and Wells Fargo Bank. And to our premier sponsors, Chevron, Comcast, NBC Universal, Telemundo Enterprises, and Southwest Airlines.
Gracias to our patron sponsor, AT&T, and many thanks to Hope's year-round sponsors, Charter Spectrum, Facebook, and Union Bank. And we're grateful to our diamond sponsors, AARP, and Brown, George, Ross, O'Brien, Anagway, and Ellis. Thank you to all for your generous, and thank you to all our generous sponsors. We could not have done this without you. Gracias.
So now we're going to be taking a quick 10-minute break and then transition over to our breakout sessions. You have two to choose from. The first is Recharging Communities Through Inclusive Leadership, which is presented by the Estee Lauder companies. And second, Workplace Resilience, Re-entering Post-Pandemic, presented by Brown, George, Ross, O'Brien, Anagway, and Ellis. To access the breakout rooms, simply click on the Sessions tab at the left of your screen. You will then be able to choose the one you'd like to attend. After the 1-hour breakout sessions, be sure to stick around for the Comadre Network Expo, where you can shop from Latina-owned brands and access exclusive offers from our sponsors and partners. Some of our exhibitors will be there live in their booths, so be sure to head over to connect with them directly. And if you're looking to continue networking, which we know is always part of Latina History Day, or you just want to say hi to our Hope staff, you can stop by the Hope booth within the Expo. And you can access the Comadre Network by clicking on the Expo tab.
And we also want to remind you to please fill out our conference evaluation survey today. The feedback you give us helps us improve our programs and plan for future events. Plus, when you respond to the survey, you will be entered to win one of 3 very special packages of product from our friends at Estee Lauder, valued at $300. The survey is linked in the reception area, and you will also receive it via email after the event. We truly value your feedback, so I hope you can take a moment to fill it out. Today marks the last day of our adult programming. Tomorrow's program is especially designed for Latina teens and young adults ages 15 to 21. The day will also feature keynote speeches on culture and identity and workshops that build the foundational skills like financial literacy, mental health, and career exploration. If you're a Latina teen, we hope to see you there. If this sounds like something for an amazing young person in your life, please share it with them. There's still time to sign up. The day is completely free to participate in, and Team Hope is dropping the link to register into the chat.
So with that, please enjoy the rest of our amazing programming today. Thank you again, and we will see you all next year at Hope's Latina History Day.